welcome to Maharshi Karve's Tri Shikshan Samstha's Career Guidance Expo 2023. We have with us today two eminent personalities who are masters in their domain, Mr. Sanjeev Bhagat and Mr. Raju Panna. A very warm welcome to you all. So, today on a conversation, we would really like to know your journey, get some nice wisdoms, you can say pearl of wisdoms, to help our students a peek into this industry. So, Mr. Sanjeev Bhagat, uh, I would like to ask you what has been your journey from a young age attaining this kind of success and putting it all together. What kind of guidance could you give our students and tell us how is it really in the fashion industry in this multifaceted domain?
Okay, thank you for having me here. So I think, at this age, I think everyone is curious about how do we go about our career choices. And I think at this particular age, like I was telling y'all, there's a sense of rush that is going within. You're learning and you're seeing things all over your place. Plus, there is peer pressure. There's always on top of many things. And in between these jugglings and livelihood, you got to make these choices. But interestingly, for me, I think I was very clear. I mean, art, fashion, and color, fabrics was something that I could always relate to it. And also, growing up in a tier 2 cities, there were lesser opportunities. And although my attention was towards TV, films, fashion shows, and that's the journey, and that's what attracted me. And I felt, okay, this is my thing. This is what I really love, and I could build a lifelong relation. So I went in that direction, and at least I was clear. Okay, I can't be a good doctor or an engineer. What fascinated me was colors, prints, silhouettes, and the whole limelight of looking good and feeling good about where, on the other hand, you're living in a tier 2 cities. And that contrast helped me, okay, there is a possibility, there is a silver lining to it, and how should I go about it? So I studied, and obviously, he was the torchbearer back then. So someone who could always guided me and then helped me. Okay, this is what you need to do. If your likings are here, 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 you must follow these and this. So for me, it was relatively a easier choice because I could see him growing up and what are the learnings that he encountered while he was growing up.
He kind of paved the way
Yeah,
for you easier.
easier, much easier. And back then, I think I had half the struggle what he had, but I had my own struggles because I come from a family where everyone is a doctor, engineer, professors, and taking a different way was like open and challenge. And I think in a middle class income group, parents have to uh, take that last call, who's going to be financing your education and stuff. So there's a lot of stake that goes, a risk, and at the same time, parents they don't want to let go of the children making some silly decisions because they also understand they also been through that journey of picking what's right for you and what seems right to you, and obviously they got to make the final decision. So yeah, it was a bit of struggle, but I think I had the willpower, and when I made up my mind, okay, this is what I wanted to, and yeah, when you decide and make those choices for you, I think the rest just falls into place.
I think, Raju, Sanjeev could see your progress. But my question to you, I was thinking that I think when you must have studied at almost 2 decades before?
2 decades before,
Two
yes.
decade before. So that time, first of all, fashion design or maybe fashion education, it wasn't the first choice of.
No.
That was the first question. Then what was made you to go for this particular area? Like,
Since school days, I was good at painting, like sketching something, playing with colors. Whenever our parent used to say that go and study, at that time I used to paint. So they say, when you get time to play, that time why don't you paint? When it's time for study, why you are keeping these things and you're saying this is तो college का homework था या art class का भी तो submission है. Then I used to say कि नहीं, but this I like. But that time, what is the profession that people, either you engineer, doctor, like I said, and that time the signboard painting was in. So if you are good at painting, what maximum job you get? You just paint on a signboard, painter. So my चाचा जी यूज्ड टू से कि झोला लेके तुम क्या पेंटिंग करने वाले हो, होर्डिंग लिखोगे तुम? तो आई से कि नहीं, कुछ करेंगे, क्या करोगे तुम? सो तब उतना क्लियर विज़न नहीं था दैट टाइम. एक ट्रेंड था जब दिल्ली के न्यूज़पेपर एक दिन बाद स्मॉलर सिटीज़ में पहुंचते थे. तब ऐसा नहीं होता था कि आज का न्यूज़पेपर सेम डे पहुंच गया. इट वाज नॉट द ट्रेंड. एक दिन बाद दिल्ली से जब ट्रेन जाती थी, अगले दिन पटना, एक दिन पुराना. तो दिल्ली टाइम्स का जो कॉलम था उसमें फैशन के बहुत सारे होते थे. तब वलाया, रोहित बाल, तो वो ये टाइम था जहाँ पे हम एक दिन बाद देखते थे न्यूज़, वो पढ़ते थे. तब मैगजीन्स नहीं थे. सो वेरी फ्यू आर्टिकल वॉज देयर अबाउट निफ्ट. एंड देन द क्वेश्चन विच वॉज अवेलेबल एट दैट टाइम, दैट वॉज GMT और AMM लेवल का क्वेश्चन था, विच इज़ लाइक हमारे लिए नहीं था, नॉट फॉर द फैशन डिज़ाइनर, दैट इज़ फॉर द वंस ग्रेड हायर. So when I saw one interview of a PK Lahiri in a very smaller section, business standard में कुछ में था, and then वो सड़क किनारे जो किताबें बेचते हैं ना, वहाँ किसी में एक आर्टिकल मिला हुआ था निफ्ट के बारे में. So that I read, and then उसमें क्वेश्चन आंसर थे कि सैम्पल क्वेश्चन. So I thought कि यार ये तो बहुत डिफिकल्ट है, मतलब I cannot able to crack because my study was, I was weak in the study because मैं पढ़ता नहीं था. तो कहता था कि पेरेंट्स बोलते थे कि तुम 10th बस किसी तरह पास कर जाओ. तो आई वॉज लाइक ठीक है, इतना ही हो पाएगा. तो पेंटिंग भी दैट्स द होल थिंग दैट आई यूज टू डू. मेरा एक फ्रेंड था जो डॉक्टर है, उसको फैशन डिज़ाइनर बनने का बहुत मन था. तो वो बोला कि राजू मेरा फॉर्म लेके आया निफ्ट का, यू वांटेड टू फिल? आई सेड कि भेज दो यार. देन आई फिल दैट फॉर्म 1996. So that time I gave the exam. I could not succeed it because Delhi was new for me. And I took the wrong bus, and the bus took me to another direction. And I skipped the first exam. So when I reached the venue, they said कि the first paper is gone, the written part. So only one paper is left, which is the painting ka paper. So if you want to give that, you can give, but you know that you will not pass. I said, I know. So I gave the exam. When I saw the painting exam, I said कि यार ये आता है. This is very easy. And I was sure 100% that if I give the exam, पेंटिंग का 90% नंबर तो मेरे पास आएगा ही आएगा. सो आई वॉज श्योर. मैं वापस आ गया. आई केम बैक टू पटना. मैंने घर में आके मम्मी को बोला कि मम्मी एग्ज़ाम मिस हो गया, सो आई विल नॉट पास. तो वो करे, अरे राजू भैया का एग्ज़ाम तो अच्छा गया होगा, जानबूझ के बोल रहे हैं कि ख़राब गया है. तो इनका सब्जेक्ट है, दैट्स हिज कोर एरिया, सो ही कैन नॉट फेल. सो व्हेन द रिजल्ट केम आई न्यू कि आना तो नहीं है. सो आई टोल्ड यू. तो सेड कि अच्छा, हमको लगा कि मजाक कर रहे हो क्या. मैंने बोला नहीं. देन नेक्स्ट टाइम जब एग्ज़ाम देने गया मैं 97 में, देन हिज फादर वॉज हियर एट माई प्लेस, एंड देन ही सेड कि फिर भेज दिया उसको, अभी देखना फिर से वो पैसे बर्बाद करके आएगा. दैट टाइम दिल्ली आने जाने में रफली 700 तक खर्च आता था. 300, 600, फिर वापस वहाँ रह के एक दिन एग्ज़ाम देकर वापस आओगे. सो रफली 700-800 इज़ अ ह्यूज अमाउंट एट दैट टाइम. तो बहुत मुश्किल था. सो दैट्स हाउ आई क्रैक दैट एग्ज़ाम. एंड मेरे दोस्त लोग भी बड़े अजीब थे. वो बोल रहे, राजू अगर इस बार तू फेल किया ना तो पार्टी तू देने वाला है. एक होता है ना कि तुम पास करते हो, तुम पार्टी देते हो, बोलते हो कि यार तुमने पास किया. मैं एग्ज़ाम दे के आया, फर्स्ट एग्ज़ाम क्लियर. नेक्स्ट राउंड था इंटरव्यू एंड सिचुएशन टेस्ट. तो मेरे दोस्तों ने बोला कि इस बार अगर तू फेल कर गया तो तू पार्टी दे रहा है, अगर तू पास कर गया तो पार्टी हमारी तरफ से. मतलब इट वाज रिवर्स. एंड एग्ज़ाम बहुत अच्छा हुआ और फिर मैं पास कर गया. और फिर निफ्ट आया. जब निफ्ट कैंपस में पहली बार जब मैंने कदम रखा तो मुझे लगा ये जगह मेरा देखा हुआ है, मतलब आई हैव कम टू दिस प्लेस. मतलब दैट वाज द फर्स्ट फीलिंग व्हेन आई हैड. उसके बाद तो फिर जर्नी रुका ही नहीं. निफ्ट से फिर एक स्टेप करके निकलते गए. तो इट वाज अ बिग थिंग. बट डिफ़िकल्ट ये था कि स्मॉल टाउन में पैसे की बहुत कमी थी. तो वो फ़ीस का जो रोटेशन ऑफ फीस था ना, वो मैंने डिसाइड किया था कि घर पे कि कैसे पैसे देने हैं। और वो बहुत डिफ़िकल्ट था क्योंकि मुझे याद है 6,500 रुपये तब निफ्ट का एडमिशन फ़ीस था। हॉस्टल के लिए पैसे नहीं थे मेरे पास कि मुझे हॉस्टल मिलेगा कि नहीं, क्योंकि पैसे नहीं थे। तो मैंने सिर्फ 6,500 के लिए मैंने सबसे बोरो किया पैसा, 2,000 किसी से 3,000 ऐसे बोरो करके फिर मैं फ़ीस ले मतलब एडमिशन के लिए गया। बिकॉज पीपल आर नॉट रेडी कि तुम फैशन पढ़ के करोगे क्या, क्या स्कोप है, क्योंकि किसी को पता नहीं था
मैं
ना।
आप दोनों को एक पूछूंगी, आप दोनों मुझे बोल रहे हैं कि आपके यहाँ पे ट्रेंड था दैट पीपल शुड गो फॉर इंजीनियरिंग, मेडिकल और
सिक्योरिटी थी
मे
ना।
बी लाइक competitive examinations. So you were always out of the box, but how do you see yourself against those who are now doctors, engineers?
इसके फादर खुद इंजीनियर है।
Not only in terms of financials, but in terms of satisfaction, in terms of like your own passion getting converted into a profession. I think this is very important that if you have, as you said, that you had a passion for painting, what we do is any kind of product, something we think, but there has to be a relationship between hand, heart and head. And until unless, according to me, you have a passion about it, you will not get a reflection of it on the paper. If I am wrong, please correct me. So, my concern is, I wanted to know, how do you see yourself against those who have availed other professions?
सी द what when I was there, कोई प्रोफेशन था नहीं, ओनली डॉक्टर्स एंड इंजीनियर वर देयर इज नो अदर प्रोफेशन। Designing is like a tailor. You are a tailor. And when I entered NIFT, I didn't know that I have to stitch one day. This I didn't know. I thought I will design a very nice design, and that's what designer job is. I never thought that I have to take a swing needle and then stitch, or sit on a machine and stitch a garment. I never thought. But when I came to NIFT, the road was very different. And also, like you said, if you don't see a result, who will study? If I say ki if I've done fashion design and then I don't get the job, who will study? So at that time, I knew that I never wanted a desk job, that I will sit my entire life on one table and finish, gone, na? This I never wanted. So that is the reason I thought कि ठीक है कुछ होगा. And what I believe is, if something is happening with you, something is happening. Let's say I'm doing a painting, it will reach at some point, right? It will not. It will never happen that you are doing something and everything is going fine and suddenly the road will end. Road will not end. That's not what I have experienced life. I have experienced that if you're doing something and if it's not stopping by default, it means this will take you to somewhere.
Lead you to something. Your
It's not that.
It means you could avail the equal good opportunities after selecting fashion, right?
Yeah.
What about you, Sanjeev?
I think, yeah, when I look back and then given a choice of being a doctor versus this, I think the passion that was is still with me and gives all the more reason every day to work harder and better. And on the other hand, when I look back, I mean, when we had a conversation with my brother or a mother, how's her day? And they'll be like, "Arey yaar, mat pooch. Kal bhi jana hai. Abhi and we're just waiting for Saturdays and Sundays." On the other hand, it's too contrasting for me. Even after a long day, I always have a reason to come back. Okay, I've done so much. There's something always more. Because I have a passion and I always connected to it. And all the more reason that kept me fueling, okay, there's so much to do. There's something so exciting. And always look up to things in a positive, perfect perspective. And what happens was like, how do I say? There are days, of course, you feel low, but on the other hand, I'll pick up from the same bloody day, and then I'll be like, no, this is me. I will do it. If you can, I will. So there was never a self doubt that I couldn't, and I always look back and always, okay, I was this, and just look at what journey I've come across and what obstacle and all the
So no regrets, not
no,
been
no, no, no.
chosen,
I never look
doctor or
back. I mean,
engineer. But I just wanted to ask you one thing, and then later on you can definitely continue. That I always see, like we talk about, we have work stress, we have tension, and then we go for, maybe see meditation, yoga. It has to be a part of your lifestyle. It has to be very genuine and has to be a regular. But just stress management for your work position, I think when you have a passion, do you think that such kind of stresses are still there? It
so
helps.
when there is a very healthy relation between what you really enjoy and then you convert that into your passion and that what pays you back, I think it's a very healthy relation. It's a very seamless and you don't just look at work. Work can be boring, but what makes it interesting is the sense of passion, and then you relate to certain things, and that's what you every time you work on certain things and how do you make it better. And and I enjoy traveling a lot. That adds to it, and all the learnings that you see and incorporate. And I always have this habit of how do I make it better every time.
So, as I was listening to your interesting journey, one thing was very clear. We understand that passion is foremost. But then there are some, like as you said, you don't know. There is some kind of interest, but passion alone will not survive. It will not take you. There will be other challenges where you will have to meet, you will have to raise your bar, and any challenge that you could tell me in your domain itself, either while studying or the job or in the industry, which people come in with a very rosy picture. It's glamorous, it's good, but then what? What is it that holds you there and makes you stick on to that and take you forward?
What we see in reality, I mean, from your lenses, is just a beautiful picture. But the reality, the the behind scene factor is totally different. Is not as rosy as what you think. Is not a fairy tale. Is not rainbows and clouds. It is so much of hard work that goes behind the scene. We stay all night sometimes putting things together. Of course, when things are not right, you got to always make things better, and sometimes you got to just uh, forget about what time is it. You just got to stretch those extra hours and make it look better and better. And it's not an easy job. It's just the passion that keeps fueling your inner satisfaction. Okay, you have to do it better every time.
So there's a self motivation.
Yes, and it's very much. I think for all these creative individual, okay, money is a thing, but it's not the only thing. But I think passion is the key over here, and yeah.
What is your take on this?
See, the stress thing, what you said is, see, when you are passionate about your profession, you know what you have. The first thing is the clarity of what you have to do in life. That's one thing. Once you know what you have to do in life, then the thing which I'm doing for the last 23 years, it's my passion, right? It's not that if somebody likes playing cricket and he's doing something else, then the stress comes. If he's not doing what he wanted to do. So I am doing something. So there, where is the stress? It's not the stress.
So I think the career direction here is, you should have passion and you should have love and
So those who wanted to take
liking. Yeah.
fashion as their profession, they should be 100% sure that this is what they want. If they're not sure, then they will be thinking that okay, this is I'm taking as a profession, and this much money it will pay. If it's not paying you and just doing a job, if a boss is scolding you, definitely the stress will come. And then you have to manage either from yoga or you do whatever you wanted to do. It will not help because you're just doing a job, which is same as I explained. It's just a desk job for you. It is not your passion that you are doing it because this is your life and this is how you will live throughout your life.
Just wanted to ask both of you, you think, people always feel when fashion is there, you have to have a connectivity with Europe or maybe, like for mass USA. So I am very passionate about Indian fashion. I'm crazy always about this. But my question to both of you, you have been working with so many international brands in Bangladesh, but you having been, like in this particular nation or country, and but still, having your connects international. I would like to know your views, like how Indian industry is evolving. And
See the connection.
especially, when people think, European fashion is fashion, Indian fashion is not, it is a costume. So I totally disagree with this, and my question is, in this respect to both of you.
See the connection you build, international connection you build. See, when I was in Patna, it's a small town. Delhi is fascinating for us. Mumbai is fascinating. Even to see a beach or see something different is a it looks big. India looks big. When I came to Delhi, it doesn't look big because I have friends from Bombay, Pune, and then I have friends in Chennai. Then India becomes small. When I studied abroad, the world looks smaller. So the connection you build there, because now I don't see India as a smaller country. The whole world, because people are from different nation, and then you have friend circle. So the atmosphere you build, then you define that what is Indian fashion, what is Asian fashion as a Japanese or a those. So when we study abroad, so we can actually define what is the difference between Indian fashion and the West fashion. So that's how the kind of fashion I see here in India, it's a fusion of both. We are not detached with the Indian tradition. That's why the blend what we see here is called Indo-Western. But if you serve this to the European market, they will say, no, this is not Western wear. Though we call it as Western, they will not consider as a Western. Like the kind of kurta length which we wear, we need something underneath to wear. They don't wear. So you will say, Are, they are not wearing inside. But this is the kind of trend that we cannot break because our tradition doesn't allow that length. It has to go, you have to wear something, either pajama or a jegging or maybe a jeans and then on top of it. So we are in a verge to connect with the world. At the same time, we cannot detach with the Indian tradition. So this is the reason the kind of difference which you see as an Indian, because we are sitting here. But when we go there, people used to tell me, Raju, I have a sari. So can you tell me how to wear it? I said, do you have, petticoat and blouse? No. Then, because people come here, they visit India, they buy sari, the blouse piece is attached to it, but they never stitched, and they don't have the petticoat inside. Then this is the same different confusion that we have. We buy things, but we don't serve them completely. That's why they never understood, we never understood. Like they wear things, but they don't wear underneath anything. They don't wear bra, and then they're just a garment. But we say, no, 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 no. It will be sheer fabric. You have to wear something inside. So the restriction is there, where the fashion is abroad is wide open. They don't mind wearing nothing inside. So it's okay for them. But in India, we say no. So we have a cultural barrier. We can't say that, no, we have to follow West and we have to break. No, we don't have to break. But smartly, we have to cover those things and enhance those elements and, embrace ourselves. It's not that we have to follow 100%.
My question was little different in the sense, when people talk about fashion, when it comes to Indian scenario, Indian fashion is considered as you said, it is culturally connected. Right, and that is why people don't have that connect with maybe, like where we see, fashion in Western region, or maybe, like other places where people really say that, these are the cities for fashion, known for fashion. So my question was, how India is getting its presence, especially in the field of fashion, globally.
We are no longer a third world country. We are right in the epicenter of East and West. All the, I mean, gone are those days when we always used to look at what West is doing. But I think over past 2 decades, things have changed. Now, it is said the fashion rises in the East. The Eastern fashion is much more powerful than the West. And a lot of designers from Louis Vuitton, House of Dior, Gucci, Chanel, they all come to India and the East to look up for inspiration. Where will they go for inspiration? They don't have any um, reminiscence of their art culture. They come back to India, finding our murals, our paintings, our textile, the so much of cultural heritage and remains that we have in our culture, and we hail utter pride in that. You know, Indian clothing, Indian textile, Indian prints and fabrics. So I think things are changing, and people have started to understand what Indian fashion is now about. We have our fashion weeks now, and a lot of reporters, they come to India to seek what is India doing, what is the Asian fashion looking in, because West is done, but the real spirit and joy is in India and the eastern part of the world today. And I think things are changing, and we've got a population of 1.6 billion, which says something, which means something, and we've got all the more reason, all the more reasons to take care of those. When you have got such a strong support of people that tells you something, there's a reason for us to change the way we think, and that change of thinking, changes. I mean, it's a ripple effect that you see across and making waves from east to west.
So you could say to an extent that we designs fashion is made keeping the Indian consumer in mind. We are there right now.
Yes, and I think uh, it won't change overnight. Like it takes years.
Now let us talk about, this in the connection with careers in our industry, especially in fashion. What all changes you have seen, at international level, national level, maybe both the levels, maybe at present demanding the same skill sets and maybe multidisciplinary approach. So, what is your take on that?
I think I'll just take 5 minutes probably. Uh, like 10 years back, when I started a brand, working with Tatas and stuff, uh, it used to be like, oh, there's a lot to do. There's so much what the West is doing, and there's so much. And every time we travel, we come back with so much of inspiration. Now we can say, okay, we are almost there. Now, where do we go for inspiration? I've already covered that area, that segment of market. So, what's next? We are almost at par with them now. So, that becomes a challenge. What next? So, we look back and what we used to do and look at the winners and what the customer loved. Not reinventing, I would say, just uh, keeping it more relevant and adding a seasonal sprinkle over your bestsellers and stuff.
I worked where I studied in Italy. So, two things I have learned in Italy. One is either you are like a create something new, and then you are a creator of that design, and the second person is the follower of the design. So, what you wanted to be in life? So, since childhood, I have studied art, culture, whatever painting, whatever I was doing, not studying as a study person. But then I thought, ki, no, I don't want it to be a follower. I wanted to be a creator of a design. So that study in Italy helped me to not to see things in a bigger picture. Like I was never going into the trend, because what trend will show? Trend will show that, okay, go and see Armani has done this. Armani is there. You go to this store, you see the design. You don't have to see on the internet or a promo steel or anything. Wherever you want to see, whatever you want to see, go and see. Hugo Boss you want to see, you go and see. So the reach is there. So I don't have to follow trend. So when I was looking those designer, and I always wanted to be, if once I'll be in the design, in 97 I was thinking, I will show the world who I am. Once I'll be in the queue of a designer, I will reach Milan. I will do Milan Fashion Week. 2 Milan Fashion Week I have done. So this is, and in Fashion Week, how many designers they participate in Milan Fashion Week? 1,000, maybe 900 in the world. So I was in the calendar. So you can imagine, in 1,000 I was one of them. So when I see myself when I was in Patna, then in Delhi, and then in Milan, so always, the things are changing. So it's not that. Then I always wanted to be how the garment has been made. So I have made two choices. One is not to follow the trend, set the trend. So one of my project went to the trend. So once one of my project was on the trend setting in 2003, 2004. Then second thing, I was thinking how people are making the garment in the production, mass production. I never imagined that I have to work 15 years in the hub of a production, Bangladesh. So almost all the brand, they are producing the garment. So the variety of design, like mass production wise, the category which we select, India have a different category they produce. Bangladesh have a different category which they produce. Italy, they produce very differently. What they produce is the half of a world produces. So the kind of production Italy make, you can't copy them. Even they give you one garment, ki lo bhaiya copy kar lo. You cannot copy, because the hard work is like, they don't work. Italians are like, they work like 2 hours, then they go and sleep. But the 2 hour work, you can't even do in a 10 hours. Like so precise, perfect, well executed. That's why the Italians are the best. So this technique I have learned. So now I have to learn the second technique, which is the mass production. So I went to Bangladesh. Somehow accidentally I went there. Language was never be a barrier when I went to Bangladesh. And even when I came to Italy, that time also the language, I didn't know Italian. Not even a single word. I went to Italy, studied in Italy. Then I moved to Bangladesh for job. I didn't know the language. Studied the language. And now I can teach in Bengali, fluently. So in 10 years, I have learned that the kind of design they do, the kind of production they do, I know in and out of that production. Where they do cheating, that also I can catch. Buyer doesn't know how they're skipping the production time, how they're shorting the time. So I lived there their life, and understand the production facilities, the procedure. So similarly, I know the market is product driven. If the world is placing the order, they know which country is the best. If embellishment is there, like he said, so the India is known for embellishment. If they have to produce a lingerie, they will go to Sri Lanka to produce. If they are making a cheap garment, they will look at Bangladesh, they will look at China. China is number one. Bangladesh is the second number. Like 70% of their economy is run by the garment sector.
But Sanjeev, coming back to you, that especially, when it comes to design, the material is the heart and soul of the design. You think that our designers are using the potential of our heritage fabrics fully in their creations, or still there is a possibility?
I think there's of course a lot to do, but what we really focus is on the surface embellishment rather than a weave or like a heritage. Yeah. So I think there's a lot to do. Like if you see the rich and heritage textiles that each part of a country has, it is just incredible. North Kashmir, they have their own weaves and textile. You go down Punjab, Fulkari and stuff. Further down, chikankari. Gujarat, there's kanta and all those Kutch work. Yeah. And so there's so many things to explore, and yet we come back again doing the same old. I think it's just infinite, I would say, and we're just scratching the surface. There's definitely a lot of scope to do.
So I think it has been really a wonderful conversation. It has been an eye opener for a lot of our audience, especially the thing behind the scenes, how it is. And the message that we all get is that whatever stream you take, hard work along with passion, there is a lot of hard work and perseverance which will help you to stay in your job. So thank you so much for your valuable time, and we wish to have you more and more times at Maharshi Karve to help us and guide us and all our students. Thank you so much.
Thank you.